Alright, so VW have announced that they are to join the Formula One circus from 2026. Now, quite frankly, it's only 2022 now, 2026, 4 years away. As far as I see it, anything could happen. So I'm still not convinced by this VW group, this VW group entry, but I digress. I digress. Anything could happen between now, 2022 and 2026. I mean, for just as a thought experiment, they could be a logistics gate. Some scandal about the carbon footprints, about the logistics of Formula One. And quite frankly, it wouldn't surprise me if VW Group got cold feet about that. But let's assume the base is gonna happen. Let's assume none of that's gonna happen. Okay, so VW Group are entering F1. They've got two brands doing so. Their two most raceable brands, VW and not VW, Audi and Porsche. Okay, they've got Audi and Porsche entering. Audi wants their own works team. That's very ambitious, and they and supposedly they're trying to buy McLaren. Now reports have come out that the McLaren are setting far too high a bar on the amount of money that they want for that team, and that's fair game by McLaren. That's absolutely fair game because that is their bread and butter. But anyway, so what's most likely to happen with Audi? Porsche, they're most likely to go with Red Bull. Okay, there's some dots you can connect relating to Helmut Marko on that. There's some dots you can connect. We're not going to do that here. But it's most likely that Porsche strike up a partnership with Red Bull. That is most likely. Now, what's most likely for Audi? Okay, Audi's McLaren deal seems to be a shrinking possibility. So after that, what are they left with? Alfa Romeo. Well, I say Alfa Romeo. Sauber. It would be the Sauber team. Audi Sauber, or just Audi, and they buy out the Sauber name. But there's Sauber. Okay, Audi could buy that team. Currently Alfa Romeo, they could buy that team, or they could buy the Aston Martin team. All right, now either way, it's gonna be a lot of work getting to the top of the grid. That's just the way it is. It's Formula One. Even if you buy a team that's seemingly right there at the top, it doesn't actually guarantee that you're going to keep the team there. So, why have VW chosen now to enter Formula One? Well, they've chosen now because, well, this is my own estimation, they've chosen now because they can shape the regs in a meaningful way for them. Sort of in a way to target 2050. You see, there's that McLaren concept, that McLaren 2050 concept, MCL Extreme, whatever they're calling it. But if you just Google McLaren 2050, I'll have pictures of this thing, of course. But there's no doubt to me that Audi are targeting some of the technologies, some of the high technologies mentioned in this MCL Extreme concept. All right, your self-regenerating tires, your fully electric. Of course, it's gonna be fully electric. All these, anyone who's into Formula E, trust me, just watch Formula One. That's Formula E in the future. Formula E is just keeping the tech warm, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna cause a controversy saying this shit. But the VW Group, they are targeting a regulatory revolution, as it were, in Formula One. Okay, I'm pretty sure they've seen the McLaren 2050 concept, and they're quite enamored with some of the proposed technologies on this. Of course, the self-regenerating tires I've mentioned. AI is not really important. Active Aero. Why would the Active Aero be important? Well, it's more efficient. It's much more efficient. You don't have to have a fat ass rear wing just creating drag the whole time. But anyway, self-regenerating tires, fully electric. The cars recharge off of the circuit, and all-weather tires. Of course, that's a thing as well. They don't need to change tires. And there's some other tech mentioned in there, but it's not. It's more superficial tech, like an emotion light on the drivers. But anyway, VW have seen this 2050 concept, and they've realized, hey, look, we can actually shape F1 towards this type of outcome. And how best would you do that? You do that from within. Now, of course, it's useful that there's a budget cap that's been implemented. It means you don't have to run $500 million a year projects just to be competitive, right? You don't have to do that. And it's useful that they're going to change the engine rigs. Of course, they're going to simplify the engine, they say that, but then it's 50% electric power coming into play. So is it a simplification? No, not really. This is just something that VW are more comfortable with. Mind you, VW would probably jump out of this F1 thing if we came up, if suddenly a diesel era was started, right? An 8-year diesel era or something. They'd probably jump. They'd be like, oh, hell no. Diesel? Oh, we're bouncing. But it's 50% electric, aimed for 2026. One can assume 2032 that might become 75%, or just like full electric 2032. What am I saying? 2036, maybe even 2040 it would be full electric by then. That's when Formula E and F1 they merge. They're the same thing now, right? And VW, they see that they're not actually that far away from this fully electric point of F1. They're not that far away. I mean, the AI assistance on the cars, that might be far away. That might be 2060, maybe even 2070, who knows? But the fully electric F1, that's not too far away, especially with 50% electric with the next incoming rigs, 2026, the next shift in engine rigs. So VW, they've got their two best brands for developing racing technology. They've entered them. Alright, and they're going to use these brands to shape F1 because, of course, they expect these brands to be competitive in F1. Like, no one's expecting Audi to come in and languish in the midfield for more than 4 seasons. I mean, if they're doing that for 4 seasons, then wow, that's okay. Then this is really Formula One. But really, most people would expect them to only be languishing in there for 2 seasons. And quite frankly, they could be competitive right out the gate. But you know, that's a very high benchmark to reach. It's an exceptionally high benchmark to reach. Porsche, they're coming in with the Red Bull. I mean, you can pretty much pen that down, right? I mean, Marco did. By the way, did you know this? I don't know if people know this, right? Helmut Marko, he won 1971 Le Mans driving a Porsche. Nah, don't get too busy on connecting dots, but you see the Porsche deal coming in right there, right next to Marco. Yeah, you see it coming in. It's not a difficult reach at this point. So Porsche go Red Bull. They want to just make an engine, and they will no doubt share a whole lot of engine knowledge with Red Bull powertrains. It's knowledge that they need, quite frankly. Whether or not they get to use Honda's IP, it's probably irrelevant now. It would probably be helpful if they did get that, but it's definitely irrelevant now. I do, however, just want to say one thing before closing. VW haven't entered F1 just to make up numbers, of course. And they also haven't entered F1 to have the regulations shaped around them. They're going to shape the regulations. And they're going to have two shots in the chamber to do so each time the regulations get reshaped. And, there's an and here, assuming Porsche becomes an engine supplier and Audi develop their own engine as well, they will possibly have political allies on the grid who they're selling engines to. I mean, Williams could be running an Audi engine very soon. But anyway, they will have allies with which to shape the regulations with. So when 2026 comes along and they've signed the Concord Agreement, they're decidedly locked into this thing. It will be expedient to pay attention to what type of direction VW want to take Formula One in. It will be most expedient to pay attention to that, and also how quickly they transition Formula One into full electric. That will be the most telling piece of info, but I digress. That's the video. Remember the McLaren 2050 concept? VW are probably aiming for something very near that. And VW ain't here to play games. Alright, they aren't here to just make up numbers, they're here to win. But that's good, it opens up more potential winning seats for drivers to land in. Alright? And then of course we can put to rest all these debates of, if this driver was at this team, You know, all of that can hopefully be put to bed, because there'll be a pick of teams everywhere. And there'll be enough seats to go around. Mind you, one has to wonder if modern Formula One can even handle, are there enough drivers to handle a five championship challenging teams type of scenario? Are there even enough good drivers to handle that? We'll have to just wait and see on that. But anyway, peace. This is my rambly ass video on VW agreeing to join F1 and what exactly the ramifications are going forward in relation to Audi and Porsche and future regulations of the sport. But anyway, that's the vid. Peace.
Hell breezy. Let me show you how to keep the dice rolling when you're doing that thing over there, homie. Hey, let's go! Cause I'm feeling like I'm running and I'm feeling like I gotta get away. Better know that I don't and I won't ever stop, cause you know I gotta win every day. Go! See, really wanna pop me. Go! Just know that you will never flop me. And I know that I gotta be a little cocky. No! You ain't never gonna stop me. Every time I come a nigga gotta set it, then I gotta go, and then I gotta get it, then I gotta blow, and then I gotta shut it. Any little thing a nigga think that he be doing, cause it doesn't matter, cause I'm gonna dead it. Then I'm gonna murder everything and anything about it. Boom, about a bing. I gotta do a lot of things to make it clearer to a couple niggas that I always win, and then I gotta get it again and again and again. And I be doing it to death, and now I move a little foul. Nigga better call a rap, and everybody know my style. Niggas know that I'm the best when it come to doing this, and I be banging on my chest, and I bang in the east, and I banging in the west, and I come to give you more, and I will never give you less. You will hear it in the street, and you can read it in the press. Do you really wanna know what's next? Let's go. See the way we on it, and we all up in the race, and you know we gotta go now, try to keep up with the pace. If we struggle and hustle and set it, and I get it, and we always gotta do it, take it to another place, gotta taste it, and I gotta grab it, and I gotta cut all through this traffic just